So welcome everybody to our 2022 Candidate Forum. My name is Melanie Metzger. I'm the Acting Interim Director of Albany Public Library at the moment. We always start off the event with our community report. This is our way to get out the community report for those who haven't seen it yet. So we'll start off with that, and then I will be turning it over to our board members to run the forum. So as I mentioned, this is our community report. We kind of go over what we've done in the last year and give everybody a little bit of an update on our budget process for this year, for this budget vote on May 17th. So operating during a pandemic, that became what we did for the last 2 years, and we continue to do it in 2021. Early on during the pandemic, one of the things I heard was don't waste a crisis. And that really became my mantra throughout the whole pandemic and what we did during here at APL. So we took this advice to heart, spent the time refining our behind the scenes workflows and processes to improve our services to our patrons. For all those times when we heard like, oh, if I only had the time to do X, Y, and Z, well, now we had the time to work on it. So while there were times that we had to reduce or change our services to our staff to keep our staff and patrons safe, we also worked really hard to provide alternatives to the public. We created a series of robust live virtual programs via Zoom and YouTube with recorded videos and live videos. We did one-on-one assistance for patrons with social services needs, including connecting them to rental, unemployment, health, and food assistance programs. And we provided a lot more e-materials for at-home enjoyment, including increasing our ebooks, audiobooks, movies, TVs, comic books, and even music. Also during this time, we were very actively involved in helping people sign up for COVID vaccinations and testing. And we continue to be a trusted source that connects people to the most up-to-date information on COVID and other health information. So in 2021, Albany Public Library loaned out over 352,000 books and materials. And this was just our physical materials. This was not our electronic materials. So that's over 1,000 items a day, even with reduced services we loaned out. We saw over 150,000 visitors at our 6 open locations, and I will get to the reason why it was 6. We provided over 33,000 public computer and Wi-Fi sessions, and this included expanding our Wi-Fi out to the community through several partnerships. We hosted over 28,000 people at programs and activities, mostly in a virtual setting, but we were able to start providing in-person activities as well through utilizing our outdoor space at most of our branches. And then we had over 16,000 views of our APL created videos on our YouTube channel. And this was everything from book clubs to story times to cooking classes to information sessions, and a lot of robust programming that way. In 2021, I mentioned we did increase our ebook materials, or all of our electronic materials. We added the Hoopla platform, which allowed for streaming content. So we increased our streaming videos, television shows, binge boxes, which was like collections of videos on a certain topic. And we also reallocated our materials budget to provide more funds for this. So while we saw a reduction in our physical books circulation, we were able to add the money to increase the ebook circulation because that skyrocketed throughout this period. We expanded our Wi-Fi in the community. We had 3 parks, Lincoln, Swinburne, and Washington Park had Wi-Fi. Over the past couple of years, it was a little bit spotty, so we took this opportunity to kind of beef that up a little bit and get that back up and running on a permanent basis. And we also then teamed up with the Albany Housing Authority to add exterior Wi-Fi at 4 of their locations. And that program was so successful, we're actually increasing that program as well. We met patrons where they were, offering programs in a variety of ways. I've mentioned virtual, workshops, book clubs, and story times. We expanded our outdoor programming, and we also did what I loved was our take and makes, where you could pick up craft kits here at the library, take it home, and we had either instructions for you to do it at home, or you could log on and do virtual programming with us. And we had our continuation of services. We kept our doors open. We were able to, while some of it was restricted, we were still able to provide all of our services, computers, books, and programs available in the midst of changing regulations. Throughout this whole event, I've been interim director for several months now, and people kept asking how I was doing. And I'm like, if COVID could just settle for like 24 hours, it would be a piece of cake. But we constantly pivoted, but our staff was able to do so really well throughout the pandemic. Now on to 2022. We're doing wonderful things this coming year. We, in April, saw a return of our in-person programming, and we were able to open up our meeting rooms and study rooms again for the public. We've been improving our physical infrastructure. Our Bach location has a new study room and a reconfigured computer area. If you haven't stopped by, their study room now has a beautiful window that overlooks the garden. It's a great, serene place to study now. Washington Avenue, unfortunately, we were hoping would be complete by today, but we're in the midst of doing an AV renovation here, so we'll be able to live stream programs from this location through an automated system. And then our Delaware location will soon have a CDTA car share electric vehicle available to rent in the parking lot. And that is a pilot program. We're hoping to expand that. If it goes, if it is successful, we're hoping to expand that program as well. I mentioned we had 6 open branches during the pandemic period. Our 7th location, our North Albany branch, was located in the old YMCA building. Many of you know that the YMCA sold that building to the school district, and it's going to be part of their North Albany Academy campus. So as part of that shift, they've been doing a renovation, and they have been helping us with a renovation of that space as well. So we're very excited. By the end of the year, we will have that branch open. And we're getting our own entrance. So we used to share an entrance with the YMCA. We will have our own dedicated entrance. We'll have our own bathrooms, which sounds amazing. We don't have to share them with a lobby area. And we're actually increasing the space. We'll have an office for the staff there that didn't kind of used an old closet instead. But they'll have their own office now. They'll have 2 study rooms and a program room. So where this branch used to act as just a pick up and drop off location for books, it will be a fully functioning branch once it opens. So on to the money part. Our library board of trustees unanimously approved our 2022-2023 budget. This is an operating budget of $7,372,420. This is an increase of 2.5% over the current year's total tax levy. This is below the New York State tax cap. The tax cap this year was 2.86%. We are below the New York State tax cap for this. And it is our first increase we are going for since 2018. The library, like every other organization, is dealing with rising costs, salaries, materials, books, computers, facilities, operations. And so this is vital to continue our current services and operations. If approved, the owner of a home is assessed at $150,000, would pay an additional $5.98 a year. So for less than the cost of a paperback book is what the increase in the tax will be. We do have our budget vote on May 17th. Albany voters will weigh in on this library budget. It is the same day as the school district vote, and the polling locations are the same as the school district. In fact, we are on literally the same ballot as the school district vote. We're proposition number 4. Information will be updated as needed and posted on our library's website, www.albanypubliclibrary.org/about/budget. Our polling locations can be found if you go to the school district website, which is albanyschools.org. And as all of you who are here attending know, it is also a trustee election on that day. We have 10 candidates for our 4 trustee seats that are open. Information about the candidate's background and their reason for running will be available on our website later this week. And a video of tonight's Meet the Candidate Forum will be posted to YouTube and at Albany, New York Library, so Albany NY Library is our handle for YouTube. And next, we will meet the candidates. So I just do want to mention really quick, our 10 library trustee candidates listed in ballot order are Sarah Macinski of Edgewood Avenue, Jean Dam of Fairlawn Avenue, Kevin Whitehead of Wood Terrace, Paige Barnum of Lancaster Street, Lynette Robinson of Beverly Avenue, Ford McLean of Elm Street, Kirsten Brzezinski of Edgewood Avenue, Andrea West of Edgecombe Street, Tabora Marcus of 2nd Street, and Carlos Velasquez of Jefferson Street. It is my honor to introduce our Board of Trustees who will be running the candidate forum this evening. Dr. Brenda Robinson will be first to moderate. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Meet the Candidates Forum. I'm Dr. Brenda Robinson. I'm Vice President of the Library's Board of Trustees, a member of the Nominating Committee, and your moderator for tonight. First, I would like to recognize our board trustees who are present. We have Mr. Thomas McCarthy. Thank you for coming. We have Ms. Sarah Dallas. Thank you. And we have Ms. Jari Goss. Thank you for attending and thank you for your service. Thank you everyone who is joining us live or watching the video to become informed about the candidates before filling out your ballots. Tonight, we'll hear from the candidates running for 4 seats on the library board. We are fortunate to have such a large slate of candidates. 10 is awesome. So we will be asking just 2 questions. Each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to answer each question, and they must answer each question. Ms. Donna Dixon, my fellow trustee and member of the nominating committee, and I will be leading the Q&A questions and answer session. Throughout the live streamed edition of the forum, you'll see all the candidates on the screen and their names will appear as well. You may hear from our interim director, Melanie Metzger, in the event that we have a technical issue. Ms. Stephanie, who is sitting to my right, is serving as our timekeeper. You'll see her hold up the sign for each candidate when you have 30 seconds left to answer your questions. Now that we have all the logistics taken care of, let's get started, and thank you all again.
Hello, everyone. I'm Donna Dixon. I'm a member of the nominating committee and a member of the board of trustees. Melanie already introduced our candidates, but I will do that again and just make sure that if we are clear who was able to attend tonight. A couple of candidates may not have been able to join us. But once again, in ballot order, we have Sarah Macinski, Jean Dam, Kevin Whitehead, Paige A. Barnum, Lynette Robinson, who may not be able to join us tonight, Ford McLean, Kirsten Brzezinski, Andrea C. West, Tabora Marcus, and Carlos Velasquez. And with that, we are going to call on the candidates in a different order as they come up to answer their questions, just to be equitable and fair to everyone. So Dr. Robinson will tee up our first question.
Our first question touches on one of the primary responsibilities of a trustee's duty of care. This means that a trustee must act in good faith and exercise the degree of diligence, care, and skill that an ordinary, prudent individual would use under similar circumstances in a like position. How do you envision carrying out the duty of care if you are elected trustee? I will call on each candidate when it is their turn to answer. This time we'll go in alphabetical order by last name. First, we'll have Ms. Paige Barnum.
I was going to say, yeah, all right. Hi. If elected trustee, I envision carrying out the duty of care in the following ways. First, I would continue to build avenues of communication and trust throughout the city by further committing myself to regular community engagement and attendance at library and partner events. I would thoughtfully nurture and express my curiosity and respect for the diversity of interests and needs experienced by individuals and groups outside the Board of Trustees meeting room. I would exercise diligence, care, and skill by helping to facilitate a thoughtful exchange of ideas and ensure that library patrons, both patrons we currently serve and potential patrons, those we have yet to serve, have the opportunity for meaningful, timely, and informed participation in the development of plans and programs that may serve them. The range of cultural perspectives and needs in our city requires trustees to routinely educate themselves on demographic changes and needs. For example, New York's older adult population is booming statewide. Over the past decade, Albany experienced a 10% increase in its older adult population. Today, nearly 15% of Albany residents were born outside the United States, which is higher than the national average, and immigrants continue to drive population growth in Albany. A trustee needs to understand the complex social and cultural relationships that exist here, how these multidimensional relationships impact the efforts of library staff and the efforts of the library board as they endeavor to make positive and transformative change. As a trustee, I would consistently engage and collaborate with the community, thoughtfully analyze qualitative and quantitative information to ensure I am delivering actionable policies and responsive programs. I believe I can meet these expectations, respecting the experience of all patrons, enabling better communication and consideration, carrying out the duty of care to help trustees be effective, compassionate decision makers. Thank you.
Thank you. Second, we will have Kirsten Broshinsky.
Hopefully that's adjustable because I'm just short. In thinking about carrying out the idea of the duty of care, at first I was kind of a little bit intimidated by the question because it sounds like a lot. And then I tried to just break it down to simply, what does it mean? And I kind of identified a couple of areas that it really has some meaning for me. The first is to be present. We can't participate in the conversation of why libraries are important, the incredible effect that they're having on our community, if we're not showing up, if we're not participating in our events, if we're not participating in our board meetings. We have to be present. The second, definitely carrying out the duty of care through listening and learning. What an important thing for us to do. I haven't grown up in Albany, and over the past couple of years, as I've been more involved in community events, I'm learning all that this community has to offer. And as I've listened to a couple of Melanie's presentations recently, I'm realizing everything that the library does. Wow, I have so much to learn, and I want to be there and be passionate and be excited and learn about all that the library is offering to our community. It is truly a gem. Also, to prioritize the well-being of the library, its buildings, its staff, its volunteers, and its patrons, and making sure that we're listening to what's going on in the community. I was actually really impressed when the board voted to put the masks back in place, because again, we're listening and being concerned about the well-being of our community. And I would love to serve on the library board and be a part of making sure that we are paying attention to that.
Third, we have Jean Dam.
Number 3, number 1, and number 2 is, I've said it all. I'll add a few things anyway. I think that I would reach out to the other trustees for their understanding of what duty of care means. I would get the manual, official trustees manual, take notes, understand what duty of care means. I would go to the mandatory training for trustees to understand better what that means. I will do what I have been doing for 45 years in my participation in this library. I will attend the book talks at the library. I will attend the Friends and Foundation events and participate on their board, as I have been doing since. And I think I will attend other library events like the one at the Arbor Hill Library the other day with the brothers, which I enjoyed very much because I knew the brothers in their time. And I give the library credit and the librarians credit for putting forth such a wonderful program. Thank you very much.
Next on the list, we have Ms. Deborah Marcus. I believe she is absent. We'll move on to Ford McLean.
Good evening, and thank you for having me and my other friends who have decided to go on this journey, running for the library board. I'll come off and say with regard to duty and care and the responsibilities of a board trustee, when it comes to libraries, I am what you might call a hopeless romantic. Maybe a bit of a spiritual romantic. I would say that libraries, like our schools, are like secular cathedrals, which are to be revered, treated with respect, walked through passionately, not delicately, but should be also full of life and passion. I was thinking of this question, and I was thinking more about the characteristics of what a board, what would be involved in the concept of duty of care. And I thought of three things that a candidate should have, or a board member should have. The first is obvious, it would be competence, that you would be able to have skills necessary to perform the duties that you would have to perform as a board trustee member, whether they're being able to analyze and evaluate a budget. If you become a leader on the board to manage, wow, how's that? Well, I'll cut out. So competence, integrity, and the last thing is love. And I truly believe those are the three things that I do have to be in this position as a board trustee, and will give you duty of care. Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Sarah Macinski.
Hi, and thank you. And fortunately, I too am short, so this microphone works out. So I'm going to approach this question a little bit differently. I'm going to start by describing how I see the library so that I can better describe how I see myself within it and supporting it. So I see the library as a hub for our community. It's the central point that stands ready and able to serve everyone. The universes that are represented by the stories in the stacks are what made me love libraries as a kid and even as an adult. But what amazes me continually is the abundance and variety of programs and services. The physical buildings are safe places that are warm in the winter and cool in the summer. There are story times, history walks, there's art, printers, internet access, resume help, and maker spaces. And I've even changed my bicycle tires at the Pine Hills branch.
And while all of these things seem very different, they're all part of the library, this central hub that serves and connects our city without judgment. So I see myself coming into this as a support. I will be active, work to remain informed, and ask questions. I will attend meetings, participate on committees, and educate myself. And using the metaphor of a bicycle wheel, with all of these different spokes coming into the central hub, I envision myself working with my trustees as a team, ensuring that all of the spokes are properly balanced, helping the wheel with the library as a hub to carry us all forward. Thank you.
Next, we will hear from Ms. Lynette Robinson.
I'm not so sure. Good evening, and we thank you for this opportunity. When I thought about the first question, like someone else stated, I immediately got intimidated. Thinking about such, large words and what it means to be a part of a trustee board for something so important as the Public Libraries of Albany. Growing up in Westchester County, I know what the library meant to me. So when I think about being a part of the library board, I think about 3 I's: inspiration, implementation, and information. Getting information out to our residents of Albany so that they know what's happening in our libraries, implementing programs that suit our libraries in their specific communities and wards, and being an inspiration, inspiring new literacy programs, summer programs for kids. I'm an educator, so literacy is huge for me. Also programs for seniors and families. So you heard my twins in the back making all of the noise. Something that will incorporate them and give them something to do. Again, thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Mr. Carlos Velasquez.
I'm in the library every single day in this library. I come here to read the newspaper, to get books, to get DVD and everything else. I understand the staff and the public that comes in here. As a trustee, I will work with the board, the director and the staff and everybody else to make this the best library, not in New York State, but the whole United States. And we have that opportunity to do that. We have the opportunity with a good trustee, good board, to make that happen. And that's what I want to do. I want to make this, when people come to visit Albany, not only go to the Capitol, and come over here and we have a good library. Sit down, relax, read a book, read a magazine. That's my goal, to work with the trustees, to respect them, to listen to them, and to understand what we are trying to do to make this a great, great library. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Ms. Andrea West.
Maybe the tallest in the room, sorry. Good evening. I am the president of a not-for-profit organization that has serviced the Capital District for over 75 years, which awards scholarships annually to area high school seniors going to college. In that role, it is my responsibility to ensure that the scholarship recipients are fairly selected. When elected library board trustee, I will bring that same integrity and diligence to carry out duty of care by making it my responsibility to research and understand issues which are set before me and attempt to the best of my abilities to make unbiased and moral decisions which are beneficial to all library patrons while being financially responsible. I would also ensure that the library continues to meet current standards of service while being proactive and responsive to the changing needs of the Albany community. Next, we will have Mr. Kevin Whitehead.
All right, so duty of care to me means having responsibility and accountability. Libraries are our greatest source of information and knowledge, and since trustees are stewards of the library, it naturally falls to them to gather and disseminate knowledge to the best of their abilities. In order to exercise reasonable care in our duties, our responsibility entails being informed by attending meetings and all library functions, including events outside of meetings, just going out, meeting the patrons in the library, the brothers event, all sorts of things. We must also familiarize ourselves with the library's financial standings and work to ensure that we hold ourselves to the highest standards of honesty and transparency. Thank you.
Back to short person mode. I'm going to pose the second and final question of the night to our candidates. Knowing the important role that our wonderful Albany Public Library plays in our community, tell us what makes you the best candidate to serve the people of Albany on our library board. We'll start out with Andrea West.
I am the best candidate to serve Albany residents on the library board because in addition to being a City of Albany native who has been serving the community for over 40 years, by profession, I'm an Assistant Director of Human Resources for an organization which services approximately 1,800 employees. In this role, I ensure diversity, equity, and inclusion of qualified candidates as a part of our hiring processes, while also exercising transparency with our hiring practices to ensure the process is easily understandable and accessible to everyone. These are all transferable skills, which will assist me in preserving equal access to information and ideas for all library patrons. And most importantly, support the core values of the Albany Public Library, which is to educate, entertain, and empower our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Next, we'll hear from Carlos Velasquez.
I've been living in Albany since 2007. I'm retired from New York State Higher Education Service Corporation as a supervisor in student loan collection. I was a former president of Central Civic of Amsterdam, a nonprofit organization. What I will bring as a trustee is experience. I'll bring my life experience to the trustees. Together we can all work and experience something, make a better library, make it a community library, a neighborhood library, a people library. And that's what we need. Like I said, I've been here every day, except for Sunday. They used to open on Sunday, but not no more. I don't know why, but it's trustee, I'll find out. But, it's a good feeling to come in to the library. It really is. I met so many wonderful people. And the staff, my God, it's a beautiful staff. They all, it's beyond unbelievable, the way they go out of their way to help. And I will bring this knowledge, this experience to the trustees and say, listen, this staff is great, but we need more. We need to do better, not only for the public, but for the staff too. And that's my goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Ford McLean.
I look at my fellow candidates here, and I honestly don't say that I would be the quote unquote best candidate for the job. I think I'm gonna speak more toward democracy. I think this is one of the greatest things I've seen in Albany in a long time, in Albany's politics. And this is apolitical, or at least nonpartisan, that we have 10 candidates running for an office like this. I'm running because I'm running out of love for my fellow Albanians, love for libraries, love for the First Amendment. I believe that the library is the most accessible and accountable institution, public entity for our citizens in the city. I believe that I would be a good shepherd for its mission and its services, especially the empowering part. We need to continue in our roles as trustees to, yes, entertain, educate, and engage, empower our citizens. And we need to find ways to do so that doesn't violate the neutrality of the library with regard to ideology or anything of that sort. But we need to get our citizens who do use this library to become more engaged citizens. I'm a TA at Hackett Middle School, and that's actually one of my qualifications, if for nothing else, than perseverance and a good sense of humor. And I'm also a painter, an artist, so I'll be very supportive of the art programs. But to the voters who are watching this, to the people who are out there, to the people who are here, and thank you to my fellow candidates, I just strongly encourage people to vote. Get out there and vote. There's 96,000 people who have library cards. Exercise your right to vote and support the library. And yes, vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ford. Next, we'll hear from Jane Dan.
Thank you very much. Like I say, I've been involved with this library for over 45 years, since I was recruited by Harold Rubin from the Center Square Neighborhood Association. I'm a 3-term president of the Friends of the Library. In 2011, I got the Volunteer of the Year Award from the Upper Hudson Library System. I negotiated the merger, and I'm signatory to the merger and that united the Friends with the Foundation. I've also, in my background, I have a skill set that might be pertinent here. At one time, I was a legislative budget analyst with the New York State Assembly Ways and Means Committee. So I grabbed the budget here, and I noticed a 30% increase in part-time salaries, which was probably very understandable, but it's the kind of thing that I would look for and I would bring to the table. I also want us to say that I have a kind of institutional history. I remember we're on the shoulders of visionaries like a Mr. Dennis Gaffney, who gave us these architecturally unique library branches. And I think that's something I feel we have to preserve. Thank you.
And next we'll hear from Kevin Whitehead again.
All right, I believe I would be a good candidate to serve the people of Albany just because I'm personally invested in Albany's libraries. I'm not here every single day, but at least a couple of times a week, I try to make a trip down to Delaware branch. Always looking for new opportunities to learn about the community. I've only lived here a few years, so I'm still relatively new. But I like the opportunity to jump in and help out any chance I can get. In my professional life, I'm currently a union steward, so I'm accustomed to the duties and responsibilities that would be expected of me in a position like this. And I just like to take it a little bit slow and make sure I have all the information I need before jumping to any rash conclusions. Just like to make sure everything is going by the books. Just very open and transparent. Thank you.
And next we'll hear from Kirsten Broshinsky again.
As I have been listening to all the candidates, I really need to echo what Ford said about the quality of the candidates that we have and what an amazing opportunity we have to have 10 candidates for this position. And when I was thinking about why am I the best candidate, I thought, well, I'm so passionate about reading and so passionate about libraries, and 90% of who I am is because of the books that I read as I was wandering the stacks as a kid. And as I listened to all of you, I thought, no, that doesn't really make me all that unique, apparently. We all have an incredible passion for serving the library. And I'm not sure that the voters of Albany can really go wrong with any of the candidates that are here. And I thank you for stepping up and for taking this opportunity. I would love to be elected, and I think that I would be a great candidate because in my professional life, I'm a fundraiser for a nonprofit organization. And one of the biggest things that I have to do is build relationships and include others. And I think that as a trustee, that's something that is so important for us as trustees to work together as a team, but to include the opinions, the feelings, the experiences of all those that are involved here at the library, the patrons, the staff, the volunteers. So much is being asked of the staff and the volunteers from our libraries right now. And I want to make sure that we are listening, that we're building relationships with them and supporting them so that we can continue to have the quality of programs that we have. We truly have such a gem here in Albany, and I would be honored to be part of the Board of Trustees. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten. Next up is Lynette Robinson.
Again, not so short. Why I feel that I'm the best candidate, knowing the huge roles that our libraries play in our communities, I feel that I'm the best candidate because of my passion for literacy and education. I currently serve as operations coordinator for Albany Community Charter School, where I've been for 4 years. Previously, I was the 5th grade social studies teacher. For as long as I can remember, I have always love reading. The journeys that books take you on, the fantasies that you get to live out through the books. So incorporating these things with the library and the schools mean so much to me. In my current position, I have spearheaded many initiatives that allow scholars and parents to work together in learning, utilizing the library, in addition to being able to, put their minds to it and learning in their own way. So as a trustee board, I am still always a student and always willing to learn. So while I may be versed in literacy and education, I am always about learning about a budget. Thank you.
Okay, and next, Paige Barnum.
Many of you here tonight are longtime, if not lifetime Albanians. And I want to be honest with you, I'm not. I'm from Wichita, Kansas, and the Great Plains is about 1,500 miles away. I have, however, chosen Albany to make Albany my home, and I am deeply committed to its well-being and growth. I believe that an outsider's perspective, or the perspective of someone that's just made Albany their home later in life, can breathe fresh air and insight into a city. It often takes someone with a different point of view to recognize opportunities for change and strategic advantage. While my story here didn't start at Albany Memorial or Albany Med, something I do share with many of you is that I am a strong believer in public service. By academic training and professional practice, I'm a community planner with experience in nonprofit, local, and state government. Daily, I am challenged to examine a diversity of environments, values, and professional practices to build consensus so that together we can create inclusive public spaces, vibrant communities, and promote a sense of belonging. Developing a modern, equitable library system requires a great deal of vision and planning. Planners are trained to consider the current and future needs of an entire system and its users, seeking sustainable, competitive advantages and opportunities where possible. I'm the best candidate to serve the people of Albany because I am compassionate, knowledgeable, and willing to ask the hard questions. As a trustee, I would share my planning skills to help provide direction for capital investment, programming, and the management of existing library services. I'm the best candidate because of my ability to creatively collaborate and problem solve, and because I am an empathetic public servant, an open-minded library user that loves and celebrates this city. Thanks.
Thank you, Paige. And our final candidate to speak tonight will be Sarah Macinski.
Okay, I'm not sure if it's good to be last or if it's scary to be last. But at any rate, here I am. So in the last question, I referenced APL as a hub for our community and shared a metaphor of a bicycle wheel moving us forward. And with that, the metaphorical spokes, we have the various needs, resources, programs, all of these different things have to be in balance. With a bicycle wheel, if some of the spokes are looser than other spokes, the wheel gets out of balance, it gets wobbly, and the ride can get dangerous. Achieving that balance is important, but it isn't always easy, especially now. Programming must be balanced with budgets. Comfort and personal connections must be balanced with health and safety protocols. Even the programming that we've all been lauding has to be balanced by support for the staff. I think that my strength comes from balancing priorities that may seem totally different. I skated for 7 years with local roller derby under the name Poly with 2 L's, Morphic. And to me, polymorphic was more than a pun. It's a reference to the many versions of me that I balance. Mom, researcher, evaluator, now retired roller girl, listener, and ally. I know that some of you may be listening for less abstract examples. My master's is in epidemiology, and I believe that clean and accurate data should inform decisions. I've worked on successful grant applications and progress reports. I'm a team player, I am passionate and dedicated. I would be honored to give back and be one of the team working to ensure balance and a smooth ride forward for APL. Thank you.
Wow, you all are awesome, awesome, awesome. First, I certainly want to recognize the attendance of Honorable Sergio Adams and Honorable Lynette Robinson. Again, thank you, candidates, for sharing your thoughts about the library with us and for the great work you have already done by qualifying for the ballot. Thank you for being willing to serve on the APL board. Now I want to give everyone some important information about voting. The Library Board of Election and the library budget vote, which you just heard about, takes place on the same day as your Albany City School budget vote. That's Tuesday, May 17th. The City of Albany is returning to in-person voting, and the polls will open 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. at
9 p.m.
9 p.m. at 15 polling sites throughout the city. Absentee ballots are also available. Instructions for absentee ballots are at albanyschools.org/business/budget/voting-information. Note that if you are requesting an absentee ballot by mail, your completed application must be received by Tuesday, May 10th at 4 p.m. If you are picking up an absentee ballot in person at the school district office at Academy Park, you have until the day before the vote, Monday, May 16th at 4 p.m. to submit your application in person and get your ballot. This information may also be found on the library's website. You can go to albanypubliclibrary.org/about/budget and then click on link, find your polling place. You can also just Google it. We want to thank all the candidates for participating in tonight's forum and all the voters who joined us tonight. Feel free to hang back and mingle, and good night.